Hey, this is Larry Yatch with SEAL Team Leaders, and I'm really excited to share this lesson with you today. What if I told you that all of the problems in your life could be boiled down to one core cause? I bet you'd be interested. Do you want to know what that is, that core cause to most of the struggle in your life? That core cause is the ability to hold and pass responsibility. Responsibility is absolutely critical in order for you to both accomplish what you need to accomplish, but also for you to coordinate action with others. Because having responsibility is not only about being able to fulfill it on your own, but being able to coordinate action with others to hold the responsibilities that you can't hold on your own. So passing responsibility is just as important as being able to hold it yourself. We've worked with billion-dollar organizations, and even at the highest levels within that organization, the ability to pass and hold responsibility is the most important thing that determines the success of an individual within the organization as well as the organization as a whole. So there's two concepts that I want to cover in these videos. So this is going to be a two-part series. In this one, we're going to talk about the difference between having and holding responsibility. And then the next one, I'm going to break down responsibility into four key parts. These four key parts are absolutely critical for your ability to hold a responsibility. And if you want to effectively pass a responsibility, you need to know these four parts as well. So be sure to check that one out as well. Before we get into that, we've all heard the term to have and to hold, right? It was part of wedding vows. Now, when it comes to responsibilities, there's a difference between having and holding. And that difference is revealed when we go a little bit deeper into that statement around wedding vows, to have and to hold. When I was first getting married, we went to the normal pre-marriage counseling, and they asked us in the vows, what was the difference between having and holding? And I had to go look it up. My thought around having, at least from what I've heard about having a woman, was in the biblical sense, and that was definitely not what they were looking for. To have is all about acceptance. So when you are making a wedding vow to someone else, you're accepting who they are, and to hold is the commitment to be there for them. And this is the same thing when it comes to responsibilities. Having a responsibility is all about awareness, being able to accept that if this particular thing isn't taken care of, there's going to be some consequence or some lost opportunity. Being able to hold a responsibility is a whole nother thing. Holding a responsibility means that you're actually going to take care of that responsibility and meet some certain standard of performance. As a human being, we're extremely limited. We've talked about this many, many times, that our ability to be successful in life depends on our ability to team with others. Therefore, as a human being, we have more responsibilities than we can hold. And our ability to coordinate action with others enables us to not only take care of the responsibilities that we have the power to take care of, but being able to coordinate action with someone else in order for them to take care of, to hold a responsibility that we have. Now, when you're in a management position, when you're responsible for other people, having and holding responsibility is a whole different story. As an officer in the SEAL teams, when I had my platoon, when I had my SEALs, every responsibility of the platoon was mine to hold. I had all of them. Now, it was my job, because I'm insufficient to take care of all of those things on my own, it was my job to be able to create an environment where others could support me in holding responsibilities that I didn't have the capacity to hold. Now, in order to pass that effectively, you have to understand the four parts of responsibility, which we're going to talk about in the next video in part 2. But being able to understand as a manager, just because I pass a responsibility to someone else and they make the commitment to hold it, doesn't mean that I no longer have that responsibility. When you have positional authority, when you have a title, every action of that team is your responsibility. So even though I pass the responsibility to someone else to hold, it's still ultimately my responsibility to make sure it's complete. When you understand that distinction between having and holding responsibilities, when you understand your limited capacity, you understand the importance of both being able to effectively pass a responsibility and to be able to have the confidence that the person that you pass it to is going to be able to hold that responsibility. And in order to do that, like I said, having a clear understanding of the 4 critical parts of responsibility is going to be your pathway to success in both holding your responsibilities and being able to effectively pass them. And we're going to talk about that next time. I can't wait to see you next time in the next video. And on the homework for now, right, what I want you to think about and even post below in the comments are looking at the difference between responsibilities that you have and that you hold, and that gap between the list that's going to be bigger of responsibilities that you have and the responsibility you have the capacity to hold. That gap is filled with your team. So being able to be clear on that, it establishes clarity on what team you need to build, create, and support. I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you.